Now, Fred, you touched on something very briefly
Yes.
in your opening statements, and that was the fact that using the ocean as a shipping route is actually more environmentally friendly than any of the other options that we have available to us, which is so important considering our very own government has made representations to the international community promising that we will try and reduce our carbon emissions. Try is probably not a good enough word, that we will reduce our carbon emissions. This is a way to do it.
Indeed it is. Look, it possibly takes a little bit longer to transport goods, but it is certainly more environmentally friendly. An example that comes to mind is, you know, that cod in Scotland is actually sent to China to be filleted and returned back to Scotland as a filleted fish. It's cheaper and it's more environmentally friendly to do it there and to do it this way. You know, the transport, it is cheaper to transport goods, let's say from Le Havre in France to Shanghai in China, than it is to transport it from the port of Le Havre right to the north of France. So you can see how incredibly effective it is from a carbon, you know, to achieve carbon neutrality. Shipping is the answer.
Absolutely, and this is certainly something that we need to be looking at more closely.
Absolutely.
In terms of education, let's go back to that topic. There are many South Africans who don't live along the coast, but who really could have a very viable career or future in the maritime industry. How do they get more information, and how do they find out about maritime high schools or schools?
Well, first of all, if you look at Loyal House as an example, if I may use that, it's part of the Department of Education, the Western Cape Education Department, and it's attached to Simonstown High School. So it's part of the normal education system, but grades 10, 11 and 12, they do maritime subjects. There is another school in KwaZulu-Natal that does that, and government is planning for 2 more schools, I'm led to believe, in the Eastern Cape. So what we need to do is parents need to approach the education department and ask, where are the schools that I can send my kids to? Once a kid is matriculated, you can still actually go to a place like CPUT or DUT, Durban University of Technology, and you can do a course there, you can do a diploma. You can be trained to be a marine engineer. You can apply to the South African Maritime Safety Authority to look for opportunities, and they will be only too happy to help and encourage young men and women. If you look at an organization such as the South African Maritime Training Academy, which specializes in simulation training, since 2003, they've had about 12,000 bodies, warm bodies, going through the organization, being trained in safety. But you know, people have the mistaken idea that maritime careers are only on ships. They're not. And you look at a vessel. That vessel had to be built somewhere, so it's shipbuilding. The vessel has to be maintained, so it's ship repair. The vessel might be sold, so you have shipbrokers. The vessel has to be loaded, so you need people understanding logistics, warehousing. All right, and it is quite a sophisticated thing. It's not just a matter of stuffing a box, a container, and putting it onto a ship. You've got to have ship planners, people who plan so the ballast is right, so that the vessel doesn't go wonky when it leaves the port. You've got to have tug operators to guide these large container ships in and out of our ports. So you can become a maritime lawyer, as an example, as well. I have not actually, I'm not a master, I'm not an engineer, but I started in the maritime business in human resources. You know, but what a wonderful, so there's a wide range. The value chain of careers in maritime is not only being a rating or being a cadet or being a master or first or second or third officer. It's a range of wonderful opportunities there.